Hi ladies, it's me again. I just wanted to show you how I do a demonstration when I'm at a party to show everyone how to apply and remove Jamberry nails. So I have all my stuff here. I have my tray that I usually put out on the table for everyone to apply samples with so that I'm using the same tools that they're using. And then I have my own personal application kit so that I can show them everything that comes in there and how you use it throughout the process. When I'm doing a home party, I usually try and have had my jams on for about a week just so I can show them the wear, what they look like and how they've grown out a little bit. You can see, there's mine. Can you see those okay? These have actually been on since last week, Wednesday, and it's Saturday right now. So these have been on for a week and a half, close to 2 weeks, and they look great. They look really good. So I like to be able to show the guests at a party how well the jams hold up to regular everyday life. So I would show everyone my nails, and I usually do removal first because I'm wearing a full set, obviously. So I would start with that, and I like to use cuticle oil to remove my jams. I always tell the guests that our official removal method uses nail polish remover and that that's fine, but that I recommend if they have nails on the drier side that they use some type of oil. Coconut oil, canola oil, olive oil, any of that will work. Then of course we have our Jamberry cuticle oil. So we have the bottle and now we have the new pen, which I've done it with both. I'll start doing it with the pens now at parties since we have that. So I just show the guests at the party how I break the seal using an orange stick. You can see it sticking up there. Then I take my cuticle oil pen and I get some oil and I just brush it underneath like that. And everyone's standing around the table while I'm doing this so they can just kind of watch. And I do the dental floss method at parties. Everyone thinks it's really cool, so we just kind of slide it underneath, and I do it a little slow so everyone can see what I'm doing. But you just see it comes right off. Then I kind of like show my nails to everyone at the table to make sure that everybody sees, you know, that my nails look good, that there's no damage underneath, that everything is fine with my fingernail there. And that's it. I usually just do one nail to show them removal. So then I go into my spiel about applying because obviously this is a little bit trickier. So I make sure that I tell all my guests the most important thing to get your wraps to stick, to stay on the full 2 weeks or close to that, 10 to 14 days, is nail prep. That we all know this, nail prep is the key. So first things first, I get up from the table and I go to the bath or to the kitchen sink and I wash my hands. So I'm gonna go do that right now. Hold on. Okay, so I just washed my hands at the sink. So I tell them all about how we should use dish soap when we're washing our hands, about how some hand soaps have moisturizers in them and we don't want any extra oils interfering with our application. So here's my fingernail, nice and clean and dry. Then we talk about pushing our cuticles back. So I take an orange stick and I push my cuticle back. Now obviously I just took wraps off. Mine are usually pretty fine looking, but it's good to go through the whole process with them and talk about it. The other thing that I do talk about is I talk about buffing. I have these little buffers. I get them on Amazon. I think I got these from, or no, maybe nailfiles.com. Yeah, that's where these came from. And like a pack of 25 for super cheap. So our official application instructions don't have buffing in them anymore, but I still mention it just in case people who have oily, shiny nails, sometimes the buffing helps, and you want to ensure that the guests that are at the party get a pretty good application this first time when they're doing a sample, because if they're putting it on and it comes right off, they're not going to be impressed at all. So I do have buffers and I mention it, but I also talk about how myself, I have dry nails, so I can skip the buffing step. That's really all I mention about straying from the official method, is whether or not people need to buff and oily versus dry nails. I try not to get into all the extra tips and tricks that we know for different things that people deal with, dome nails and things like that. If someone needs that, we can help them on a one-on-one personal basis, but you don't want to overwhelm people when you're talking, and you don't want to be going on and on with all these different things. It makes it seem really complicated when we know that most of our customers can do the official way and it works just fine for them. Okay, so anyways, so then I talk about how they should clean their nails. Now we have our new Jamberry cleanser, which I didn't bring over here with me. It's in my other bag, sorry. But I also have alcohol wipes. That's what I've been doing up until now. These little alcohol wipes from Target. They're purple, so I like them. And they're just like a little tiny thing, and clean your nail. So I have everyone do that. I have them push their cuticles back, wipe their nail with an alcohol wipe. Then we talk about proper sizing. And I have a ton of samples. I cut up the ones that I don't use off of my own sheets and things like that. So I have more of a variation of sizes since our samples are pretty small. So this is the one I'm going to use for my nails, and I talk about holding it up to your nail and how the backing is clear so you can see which one fits on a sheet, and also making sure that you're erring on the side of small instead of big. We know that that's really important. I also talk about cutting it in half because not everyone gets that right away. So I show them about how I'm going to cut this in half, and it's going to do a pointer finger from each hand. Okay, so I cut my little sample in half on the plastic. I find it's easier to deal with that way. It is a little bit awkward with these samples and how they're so small when you're doing it in person. So maybe practice at home if you don't really use the samples when you're applying, just so that you kind of feel comfortable when you're doing it in front of people. Sorry, I have a cold, so excuse my stuffy nose. When I'm at parties, I use the Legacy heater. I like these for in-the-home parties because there's a bigger heating surface since you're likely going to have a lot of girls using it at once. The tiny heater is great, and I always have one on display, and I end up turning it on and showing it to them at some point while they're doing samples so that they can see how great it is for personal use. But when everyone's doing it all at once, I like the Legacy heater, so I'm going to turn that on. You don't have to do that. You can use the personal heater, it's fine. So I use my scissors, and I stick the back of the wrap to my scissors like this. So I would show that to everybody. And I show them how I heat it up. 5 to 7 seconds. You know how it gets a little wavy or wobbly. Tell them that's what they're looking for. There's mine getting a little wavy. And then I just do my application. I put it up against my cuticle. Say, oh, if I don't like it, it's okay. I can pick it up and stick it down again. That's no big deal. Pressure all the way around. Make sure you leave space all the way around so it's not touching your cuticle or your skin. I like to use my purple rubber cuticle pusher to make sure that I'm really pressing it down. Heat again. I do heat 3 times in my application. If you do yours a little bit differently, that's fine. I would just make sure it's consistent at every party that you do so you're not confusing yourself. Trim some of the excess. Then take my file and file down at a 90-degree angle. I usually stop like halfway through my filing process and kind of show everybody how the nail file is separating the vinyl around the tip of your finger so that they can see exactly what the nail file is doing and how you get a good seal around the tip of your fingernail. So I usually do that just to show everyone because some people don't get that part of it. Then they kind of see how it falls off. I always make a joke when I'm doing my demo about how our official application video says to file gently, but that I don't have time for that, so that they could just hack at it until it comes off. It's not going to hurt them. So there's mine, and I would show everybody that. I usually heat it up one more time when I'm done just to make sure everything's all sealed, just, you know, a couple seconds. And then I show everybody my nail, pass it around the table, and then I say, okay, now it's your turn. And I make sure that everyone picks out a sample that fits their nail properly, and then I sometimes I'll talk it through again in groups or individually. It depends on how many people are there and what it seems like they need help with. Some girls get it right away. Some girls need to throw out 3 or 4 samples and redo it before they finish. So it's fine. Let people take their time. Make sure that you're, you know, keeping it fun and don't take it too seriously. It's just nails. And if you have a girl or two who's either used Jamberry before or gets the hang of it real quick, you can have them help some of the other girls. That's a great segue into, oh, you should do this. You should be a consultant. You're so great at it. And be my assistant for tonight, that sort of thing. So that's what I do for my demonstration. Thanks.